There's a man sitting at his kitchen table right now. It's late, and the house has gone quiet around him. A mug he stopped drinking an hour ago sits cold by his hand, and a notebook lies open to a page he doesn't want to look at. He found it in a drawer tonight, an old list, goals, in his own handwriting. And the thing sitting on his chest isn't that the list exists, it's the date at the top. 3 years ago. Same goals, same handwriting. He could have written it tonight and not changed a word. Here's what he doesn't know, sitting there. What's actually wrong with him is not what he thinks it is. It's smaller than that, and it's fixable tonight, because he's not a lazy man. That's the part nobody understands about him. He works hard. He shows up for other people. If you met him, you'd call him solid. He's the guy who knows exactly what he should be doing. Eat better, build the thing, make the call, start the work. He could recite it to you. He's known for years. He just doesn't do it, and he can't figure out why. He's tried the willpower thing, the strong mornings, the clean weeks, the fresh starts that felt like this time. Every one of them faded out the same way, quietly, without a decision, until he was back exactly here, at the table, with the list. What almost no one tells him is that he doesn't have a discipline problem. He never did. The men who seem to have it aren't gritting their teeth harder than he is. They're not stronger. Most of them aren't even trying as hard as he is right now, at this table, at this hour. They just do one thing he's never done, one small thing, every day. A thing he's skipped his whole life without ever knowing it was the hinge everything else swings on. Let's call him Danny, not because the name matters, but because the man matters. And the man at the table deserves a name. Danny is 41. For 9 years running, he has said the same 2 words to himself every December. Next year, he gets in shape. Next year, he starts the business. Next year, he becomes the man he can already see clearly in his head. That guy is right there. He can describe him in detail. He's always lived 1 year away. And in 9 years, the gap between Danny and that man hasn't closed. If anything, it's grown. Because now there are 9 years of evidence stacked behind it. Here's what I need you to understand about Danny, because it's the whole thing. He was never waiting because he was lazy. He was waiting because waiting felt like patience. It felt responsible. He told himself he was getting ready, building up to it, waiting for the right time, when work settled down, when the kids were older, when he had the money, when he felt more like himself. Every year he had a reason. And every reason was true. That's what made it impossible to see. The waiting wore the face of wisdom. But there's a name for a slow pull-off course from who you said you'd be. A pull so gradual, you never feel the moment you started moving. That's what had Danny, not a fall, a drift. He didn't quiet on his life in one dramatic moment he could point to. He quit in 1,000 small permissions, each one reasonable, each one just this once. Until the once became a decade. And the cruelest part is that drift doesn't feel like anything while it's happening. Failing feels like something. Drift feels like a normal Tuesday. It feels like next year. You only feel it when you catch the date, when you find the old list, and your whole body does the math at once. So if Danny isn't lazy, isn't stupid, isn't weak, what is actually wrong? The answer is smaller than you think. Danny has never once sat down and looked at the gap on purpose. He's felt the gap, at the table, at midnight, when it ambushes him. But he has never deliberately, in daylight, with his eyes open, faced the distance between what he said he'd do and what he actually did. He avoids it. Of course he avoids it. Most men do. It hurts. So the only time he ever sees the truth are the times it jumps him in the dark. And a truth that only ever ambushes you is a truth you can't do anything with. By morning, it's gone. By morning, it's next year again. That's the thing the disciplined men do that he doesn't. It isn't that they want it more. It's that they've built one small, fixed, unavoidable appointment with the truth. And they keep it, whether they feel like it or not. Every day, a few honest minutes where they sit down and ask one question. Did the man I said I'd be show up today? Or didn't he? Not to punish themselves, not to spiral, just to look, to count, to keep the gap from going invisible. call it the daily reckoning. And I know how small that sounds against a problem this big. A few minutes a day against 9 lost years feels like bringing a spoon to a landslide. But stay with me, because this one habit is an umbrella. And underneath it, almost by force, every other piece of discipline you've ever failed to install starts to grow on its own. That's what makes the rest automatic. You don't build 5 habits, you build one, and it builds the other 4 for you. Watch how. The first thing the reckoning forces is honesty, because you can't sit in front of the truth every day and keep lying to yourself about it. The lie only survives in the dark. Danny's next year can live for a decade precisely because he never says it out loud to his own face in daylight. Put him in front of it every day, and the comfortable story starts to die of exposure. He stops being able to call waiting patience. That alone changes a life. The second thing it forces is a next move. You cannot honestly face the gap and then do nothing. The body won't let you. Sit in the distance between who you are and who you said you'd be. Really sit in it. And something rises up that wants to close even 1 inch of it before you sleep. So the reckoning doesn't end in guilt. It ends in a single next action. Not the plan for the whole mountain. The one step you can take tonight. Honesty about the gap produces motion, the way heat produces light. The third thing it forces is a fixed time. A reckoning you do whenever is a reckoning you'll skip, and you know it. So it attaches to something already in the day. The last coffee, the drive home, the moment after the house goes quiet. For Danny, it would be this exact hour, this exact table, the one he's been ambushed at for years. Except now, he comes to it on purpose. And here's what's strange and true. Once a man has one kept appointment with himself, the rest of his day starts organizing around it. He didn't build a schedule. The reckoning built one for him. The fourth thing it forces is the hardest one for a man like Danny to believe. That consistency beats intensity every single time. Danny's whole life has been intensity. The strong January, the clean week, the fresh start that burned hot and went out. He thinks discipline is a fire you light, but the reckoning is the opposite of a fire. It's a small, dull, daily thing that asks almost nothing of him on any given night. That's exactly why it survives. A man can't sprint for a decade, but he can sit down for 5 minutes. The men Danny envies aren't burning hotter than him. They're burning longer, on purpose, at a heat they can hold. And the daily reckoning is what trained them to. Honesty, a next move, fixed time, consistency over intensity. 4 things Danny has chased and failed to install one at a time for years. And all 4 grow on their own under one small daily act. That's what automatic actually means. Not that discipline stops costing you anything, that you stop manufacturing it from scratch every morning, because the structure underneath is finally holding it up. Now, let's be honest about something, because this is the place most men quit. The first reckonings are brutal. If you've drifted for years and you sit down tomorrow and honestly count the gap, it will not feel like growth. It'll feel like that knot in the gut at midnight. Except now, you're doing it to yourself on purpose. The first week, you'll mostly be cataloging failure. That's not the habit gone wrong. That's the backlog. Years of unfaced truth don't clear in one sitting. They come due all at once, and then they thin out. The men who make it through those first ugly nights come out into something Danny has never had. A quiet, daily, unspectacular relationship with the truth that doesn't need to ambush him anymore, because he's already looking. If you've ever found an old goal you never started, a list, a note, a plan with a date on it that made your stomach drop a 1 in the comments. Not for me. So you can see how many other men are sitting at that same table tonight. I think the number is going to surprise you, because here's what almost happened to Danny, and what's quietly happening to a man watching this right now. He was going to do this again next year. Close the notebook, put it back in the drawer, tell himself the math he just did was too painful to look at, and protect himself from the truth by looking away from it, which is the exact move that cost him the 9 years in the first place. The looking away is the drift. They're the same motion. Every year he flinched from the gap was a year he guaranteed the gap would still be there. The disciplined man isn't the one who never feels that flinch. He's the one who sits back down anyway. So I want to leave you with a different picture than the one we started with. Not the list. The list was never the thing. Picture the calendar on the wall instead. Here's what the list and the calendar have in common, and where they part ways. The list is what you meant to do. The calendar is what time is going to do regardless. It turns the page whether you moved or not. Danny spent 9 years believing the list was the thing that mattered. The whole time, it was the calendar running in the background, quietly spending years he thought he still had in the bank. You cannot slow the calendar down. That page turns tonight no matter what you do. And that's not the bad news. That's the only leverage you've got. Time compounds whatever you hand it. Hand it nothing, and it compounds nothing. It just runs out, the way it ran out 9 of Danny's years while he waited. But hand it one small daily habit, and it goes to work on that instead. The same force that spent his years without asking is the force that builds a different man without asking, if you give it something to build with. The daily reckoning isn't discipline. Let me be clear about that, because it's the whole point. It's the small fixed act that grows discipline while you sleep. The hinge the disciplined men have been swinging on their whole lives, the one Danny never knew was there. You don't have to become a different man by force tonight. You have to sit down for 5 honest minutes and stop letting the gap go invisible. Now, here's the one thing I'll tell you that Danny doesn't have yet. Those first brutal reckonings, the ugly week, the backlog coming due all at once. They go faster, and they cost less when you're not facing them alone. A man can sit at that table by himself and grind through it. Plenty do. But the man who's already on the other side of it, who's kept the appointment long enough to watch the knot thin out, he can tell you which nights are just the backlog and which are the truth. So you don't quit in week 1 thinking it's supposed to feel like that forever. That's what being tethered does. It doesn't do the 5 minutes for you. It just means you're not the first man in the room to ever sit down and look at the gap. And you get where you're going faster because of it. And if you made it all the way here, to the end of this, that already tells me something about you. So take something with you, free, no catch. I put the whole of it, the drift, the reckoning, the way out, into a short book. It's linked below and pinned at the top of the comments. Reading it is one small move that leaves a mark outside your head tonight. Start there. Danny's still at the table. The notebook's still open. The page still has that date on it. But the calendar on the wall has tonight's date too. And for the first time, he's looking at that one instead. That's the whole habit. Look at the page that's turning, not the one that already turned. And that word in the title, automatic. Here's what it actually means now. It was never a promise that discipline would stop costing you anything. It means you stop building it from scratch every morning by force of will, because the reckoning is holding it up underneath. You do the 5 minutes. The 5 minutes do the rest. That's the part that runs on its own. That's what automatic was always pointing at. So start tonight. 5 minutes. Count the gap honestly. Then take the one next step it shows you, and do it again tomorrow, before the year you're standing in becomes another one you only notice on the way out. Drop your one, then go close 1 inch of the gap before you sleep.